And welcome to another edition of the Living Large Theater podcast. Billy Santiago here, along with my good friend of 37 years, Gary Rodriguez, our super producer, Noe Ayala. Reach out to us on our email account, livinglargetheater@gmail.com. We're available on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon Prime, and now on the YouTube channel, hashtag Living Large Theater Podcast. Reach out to us if you want to become a sponsor of this fine program, 956-451-1633. Rate our podcast, share with a friend, leave us a comment, and more importantly, hit that subscribe button.
Thank you, Billy. This is season 6 of the Living Large Theater podcast.
Which episode? This
is episode 7 of season 6.
Okay.
And, you know, a listener emailed me the other day, said, you guys have been on the air for 3 years. And
can you believe that?
And your friendship with Billy has still been 37 years. And I'm like, come on, man, we got to kick it up, make it even 40.
37?
I don't know. Maybe
we met in 88 when we started working together, February of 88. It's
right. Every time I
37.
hear it, it's like,
all right. Well, okay. Well, I'll have to correct our listener there.
Yeah.
Hey, season 6 kicking off. We have a great program lined up for you today with a very special guest. But before we dive into our guest and figure out the expertise that he has in his field, I want to talk about this TDS that's still prevalent across the United States, Trump derangement syndrome.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm a big Trump supporter.
I know.
But I'm open-minded, and I'm okay with people who are not big Trump supporters. I'm not always happy with what he says or what he does, but I do know that he's a consequential man, and he's making things happen, and I think he's doing it for the better. But I have a friend who is constantly deriding Trump, and I tell my friend, look, I see it. I get it. I know you don't like him, but you're not going to change my mind. And I have friends and family who have actually gone silent on their support for Trump because they don't want to be derided by friends or other family members. And so they've gone quiet, and I'm telling them and I'm telling you, if you're a supporter of Trump or you're a supporter of Biden or the Democrats, don't go wobbly. Stick to your guns, research the topic, get some information to back up your defense, and say it loudly, say it proudly, and with total respect. You know, back in 2001, after the terrorists hit the Twin Towers in New York, the Monitor newspaper down here, which I don't even know if they still exist, but they went.
Gary, that's your newspaper.
Well, it was. It was.
I mean, that was a lifesaver for you during your news anchor days.
It was, but try finding one now. You can't find a Monitor anywhere.
I canceled my subscription.
Yeah. But the Monitor went to UTPA, now it's UTRGB, and they interviewed political science professor Dr. Sam Freeman, and they asked him, the reporter asked Freeman, why do you think the terrorists hit New York City this morning? And Freeman told the reporter, today, America got what America deserved. He said, America is a rogue nation. So I read this comment the next day in the newspaper, and I sat down and I fired off a letter to the editor challenging Freeman to a public debate anywhere, anytime. And I had already heard about this guy, and I called him in my letter to the editor a cancer of cowardice who is filling the sponge-like brains of the youth of the Rio Grande Valley who go to that college with anti-American rhetoric, and I would be happy to debate him. Well, to my horror, he accepted. So,
really?
Yeah. So exactly 1 month later, it was October the 11th, 2001, we debated in the Student Union Building at UTPA, standing room only.
Really?
500 people seated. Everybody else is up against the wall.
Were there I Hate Gary signs around?
Yes.
Were there?
Yeah, because unbeknownst to me, his students told me afterwards that he had promised them extra credit if they would ask me a hostile question during the debate. You know,
they were trying to set you up.
Yeah,
huh?
So there was a time that was set aside for questions and answers, but the debate itself ran for 90 straight minutes. And at the beginning of the debate, there's no way I could lose because I set the premise. Since I offered the challenge to him. You know how debates work. I offered the challenge. He accepted. I was allowed to set the premise. And I told Dr. Freeman, I said, Dr. Freeman, if at the end of this 90-minute debate, you have convinced me that we do not live in the greatest nation on earth, I will admit that you have won the debate. Well, obviously, 90 minutes later, he didn't convince me of that or anything else. He's a hothead. I believe that he was in Vietnam, and he rode that a lot as a credential. But I exposed a lot of his positions as just anti-American, you know. And he talked about the right-wing death squads in Chile and Peru back in the 60s. And I said, yeah, that was true. That did happen, and we had to have those contractors out there taking out the communists. Otherwise, they would have taken over the whole Western Hemisphere. My point is, don't back down, but you have to have the information. You have to be willing to defend it. And, you know, one of the smartest guys I know is one of our sponsors, Ward Thomas, owner of our studios here. Very intelligent guy. And he has changed my mind on a couple of things. And I think to do that, one has to be willing to let your mind be changed if the information that somebody else has is either better, more correct, or just more practical. So
Okay.
I'll admit that sometimes people can change my mind. And at the end of the debate with some of these people that I do encounter, I always say, listen, I don't think I changed your mind, and I know you didn't change my mind, but at least we got it out there. So if you're a Biden supporter, a Democrat, a Republican, a Trump supporter, don't go wobbly. Stick to your guns. Lay it out there.
You mean like Gavin Newsom wobbly?
Yeah, that guy. What's
Or if you're, or if
Oh,
you're,
my
or you're
God.
a Houston Texas fan or a Cowboy fan, you know.
No,
don't
I'm
go
a Cowboy fan. I don't care.
Well, you know what? You know what? I'm a wobbler there. Okay.
If they,
I know
Cowboy,
you are. That's what I'm saying.
I've been to the I've been to the Houston Texan Pro Shop online a couple of times already, and I'm almost pulling the trigger to get me a Texan cap to replace my Cowboy cap. But I said,
what?
you know what? I'm gonna give Dak one more year.
Yeah, that's about all he has.
Yeah.
One more
Probably,
year.
yeah.
If it doesn't happen, I'm off the bandwagon.
There you go.
man.
I'm with the Cowboys. Even if they go 0-16, I will never, ever
You know,
cheer.
but Gary, you know,
against the
you have a
Cowboys.
lot of sentimental attachment to the Cowboys. You know, you used
Yeah,
to
I
be
used-
a parking lot
I
attendant.
used to work at Texas Stadium,
yes.
parking cars in high school. Yeah, it was
that
great.
goes a long way, man.
And then
you
at
know?
halftime, we could go in and see the rest of the game. It was great. I met some great players, John Nyland, Ken Washington. I even got some of the autographs from players on the opposing team. You know, 0-16, I don't care. I love them. I'm not sold on Dak Prescott as the quarterback.
Well, you
for
and
the
I have had
Dallas.
this discussion.
Or, Brian Schottenheimer.
What's his backup?
I'm gonna give
Is it Milton?
Schottenheimer a chance, man. He's
Joe
never,
Milton. Joe Milton's
my
got an
God.
arm.
Yeah,
oh,
he
my
has an
goodness.
arm.
he's got a cannon for an arm, man.
Yeah.
Hey,
Very
I'm
athletic.
gonna give Schottenheimer a chance, man. He's never coached before.
Who dat?
He's got coaching pedigree
Okay.
because of his dad,
Yeah.
Marty Schottenheimer. So I'm gonna give him a chance.
Yeah, okay.
You know, but some of the things he's already putting into the so-called Schottenheimer cowboy culture,
Yeah.
I'm kind of questioning.
Well, and Colin Cowherd says he's one and done. Colin
You think?
Cowherd. Oh, well, that's what Colin Cowherd said. He's one and done. Yeah, Colin Cowherd said, "Look, any coach that allows rap music just to be blaring during an official, organized practice in the NFL, they're going the wrong way about it. He's already lost control of the team. Turpin just got arrested. What the hell's going on there?
Oof.
Yeah,
You-
just
you-
got
I
arrested.
didn't hear
Not
that.
good.
For what?
Not
Yeah,
good.
he got arrested.
We're talking about football season, and we have somebody very important here that always busy during football season, huh?
I bet he is. Hey, before we jump into our guests, let's talk about our sponsors. We have White Sands Marina. They are in Port Isabel, Texas. They have been with the Living Large Theater podcast since the very beginning. You know, I could read something off a piece of paper here, but I think it's better. Let me tell
From
you
the heart,
about
from the heart.
White Sands Marina. It's close to the coast, number one.
Ooh, I like that.
Number two, they have access for you to over 50 boat captains. And now with SpaceX here, you can launch from White Sands Marina on the boat of any of 50 captains and go see a SpaceX launch and enjoy it.
And
now,
the food.
the other thing is, once you're done, you go back to White Sands, you park yourself in the restaurant or the bar, and you get one of their outstanding meals at a great price. It's a great value, and they have great staff, great help, and the drinks there off the charts.
Now, what is your favorite?
I love their Bloody Mary. I was never a Bloody Mary guy till I tasted one. So they're at 418 FM 100 in Port Isabel on the way to South Padre Island. Now, look, if you go to the island, that's fine, but you do have to come back to the mainland. And when you do, if you're a little tipsy, you can stop and get a room at White Sands Marina, and you will love the accommodations there. It is one of the best places you will find in Port Isabel. Very receptive, very welcoming. Make your reservations right now at White Sands Marina, wsnandsuites.com. Also, Ward Thomas, once again, thank you, brother, for allowing us to use Majestic Studios here in the big city of McAllen, Texas. And we can't forget Fred Rodriguez, our corporate sponsor, the Texas Sportsman. Gotta have it. And there's also a Senate proclamation from the Texas Senate naming Fred Rodriguez as the premier hunting and fishing guide in Texas.
And don't forget his TV show every Sunday morning on NBC 23. I believe it's 10:30.
I think it's at 11 now. But
it's 11?
Just look. You'll find it there.
I thought it was at 10 a.m.
And aren't we supposed to film a segment of the show, us out fishing on the... ain't going to happen?
I don't know. We arranged that years ago. But
last time.
Let me tell you this. In Fred's defense, he did offer to do it, and we went out there, and that day
it was real windy.
The seas were rough, and we had to cancel just out of safety. Now it's up to us to pin him to the wall and say, "Look, dude, get your oars out and let's go rolling."
You hear that?
Hey, let's welcome our very special guest. First of all, sir, thank you for putting up with our ramblings here in the beginning. In the studio here, Majestic Studios, we have Marco Aguilar from Aguilar's Meat Market, and they're in the Rio Grande Valley, primarily in Edinburgh, Marco?
Edinburgh, McAllen, yes, sir.
Edinburgh, McAllen, all right. Talk about Aguilar's Meat Market. Every time I drive by, it's packed. And when I go in there, it's packed. What's your secret to attracting customers? Because I know most of them, like Billy says, he loves your fajitas.
Yep.
What is your secret to attracting customers to make them become regulars at Aguilar's?
We focus a lot on customer service, just to make sure that we have a speedy process for the customers to where they're not in there a long time. We really beat the big supermarket in that way more than anything. We try to keep a good price, competitive to where it's going to be not necessarily the cheapest, but we are competitive with everybody else. And then the quality of the product, we really try to keep fresh product, whether it be meat or produce or anything that we have in store, to make sure, that it's going to last in your fridge a couple of days, even if you don't have the opportunity to cook it right then and there. We want to make sure we put out a quality, fresh product more than anything.
Well, I want to make note that the Living Large Theater, predominantly, most of our listeners are here in the Valley, but we have them everywhere. Dallas, Houston, Spain, Thailand,
Beirut,
San Antonio,
Iraq.
Everywhere. So what I want to do with this visit with you, Marco, is whenever you talk about meat or beef or service or success, let's think of the concept of talking to somebody who's not here in the Valley, that will never visit Aguilar's, only because it's geographically impossible. But you have information that can help them go to their local butcher, wherever they are, and get the kind of product that you sell on a daily basis. So with that in mind, tell us about the beef market right now. I don't want to answer my own question, but what is the condition of the beef market right now in the United States?
So beef on average is high, right? So you can get a little bit of background on it. On a weekly basis, on a regular week, cattle-wise, 675,000 head of cattle are slaughtered on a weekly basis.
Wow. How many?
675,000.
Wow.
That's nationwide.
Nationwide. That's a normal week. Last week, they were at 465,000.
Why is it going down?
They're saying... They know right now that the herd is short. It's been the shortest that it's been, I think, in like 70 years. That it's the smallest. The drought conditions had a lot to do with it. The pastures are improving, but not fast enough. The grain prices had a lot to do with it years back. Grain prices have come down. It's helping out a lot. But the main thing that's pushing it right now, there's still a variety of factors, but there's 4 packers in the United States that are the big packers. They're the big boys, right? They control about 80% of the market of the entire cattle that's slaughtered.
So you have to buy from them?
The majority of it, yes. So those 4 packers, what they're saying right now, hey, I have the capacity to kill at one of my plants 10,000 a week. I only want to kill 6,000 a week because I want the price to go up because the price of cattle is
So they can
expensive.
So they're
influence.
manipulating the price.
Yeah,
They can influence.
they have a big influence on it, and I'm not saying they're in cahoots, but there's pretty close. Yeah, so
It's let's call it a tight relationship.
yeah. So historically, cattle prices for fed out cattle that goes to the packer, you get $1.25 a pound. If you're on a really good week, $1.40. You know, something crazy would be somewhere around $1.50. Right now, it's close to $2.50, $2.30, $2.40.
What's the markup once it gets to a market, either a grocery store or Aguilar's or something like Aguilar's? What's the markup?
So it has a lot to do with the processing, right? But our market would probably be somewhere around 30%.
Okay.
From cost of goods to retail.
Now we have to take in mind, I don't have to go kill a cow.
Yeah.
I don't have to skin it. I can go to the store. It's nicely
And you get a steak.
presented.
And
It's refrigerated, and it's ready for me to get the grill going and cook it. Let me ask you this. I read this morning that the United States had put an embargo on cattle coming in from Mexico because of the screwworm.
Yeah.
Is that going to affect you in a positive way or negative way or at all?
So we're still buying from the packer, right? But that screwworm, they had lifted the embargo on it, and it was supposed to completely be done with by September. They just reinforced it because they found screwworm
In Veracruz.
Yeah, the first one that they had opened was Arizona. They were going to make their way down to Laredo, and they found it in Veracruz, so they canceled everything again. So that screwworm, Mexico provides about 5%, not beef, cattle. That hey, the cow was born in Mexico, it gets sent to the United States, and it gets fed out in the United States and then killed in the United States. Provides about 5% of all cattle that's killed in the United States, which isn't a lot, but 5% of 675,000 a week. That's a big number, right? So
That's a big impact.
that's a big impact. So that's what's bringing down the feeders right now. That's what's bringing down the kills a little bit. But mostly the kills, like I said, they're being influenced by the big packers that they're losing too much money on how much they're buying the cattle for. So they're trying to pick up the demand of beef. So they're trying to pick up the price of beef. But if you go to feed yards, we have a couple here in the valley. You go further up, the ones here in the valley or the ones that are closer to Mexico, whether it be our border or New Mexico, Arizona, or something like that. Those feed yards are the ones that are really influenced by it. They're running at like 40% capacity, 50% capacity because they rely on a lot of that incoming cattle.
And that does affect the end price.
Yeah, that affects the end price because that feed yard's having to sell at a higher price what they do have to the packer because they want to make sure that they can continue to operate more than anything.
Yeah.
So I had a question. So is that why they're releasing like 10.4 billion flies in the next 2 years here?
I know that Moorfield Air Base, right?
Yeah.
The Moorfield Air Base, I think they put in like a couple $1 billion into the air base to get it going. They're going to try to, I think it happened in the 80s or something.
Yeah.
For
they
mosquitoes,
had
right?
Yeah, the screwworms. Yeah, so
Okay.
they want to put sterile flies.
Yeah.
So that way they can sterilize the screwworm in Mexico. The USDA is really working close with Mexico to get it going. They say that the worm is pretty defensive against it now compared to what it used to be. That they released it in the 80s. They eradicated it almost completely.
I was reading that the screwworm actually buries itself in the meat of the animal and screws its way down, and it's more or less like a maggot, and it has more maggots, and the maggots just start eating the cow from the inside to the
But it
out.
has to be an open flesh, or
It has to be an open flesh, yeah. So if the cow drops a calf, if it has a gash, it has anything, and it's not just cows. Deer hunting's pretty big down here. If the cow, if the deer they're fighting, they get a thing. Same thing. It's going to go into the deer.
Wow.
It's a lot of stuff. Pets, dogs, cats, everything can be affected by it.
What's your biggest seller at Aguilar? It's fajitas or
So volume wise, probably a split leg quarter still the biggest seller volume wise.
Okay.
But sales wise, probably the sirloin fajita.
Oh, yeah, the
sirloin
marinated
fajita,
ones.
the
Yes.
sirloin fajitas do real well. That soft bite, easy to cook more than anything.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I wrote a story for a newspaper years ago about the history of the fajita, how the fajita was actually a cut of meat that on the cattle drives, the Anglo cowboys would pretty much throw it away, and the Mexican cowboys, who were called the vaqueros, they would go get it, clean it up, cut the fat off, and grill it to the point where the Anglo cowboys were going, "Hi, What is like? I want give me some of that fajita.
Yeah. So I mean, there's it's a real nice story of the fajita more than anything, because like you said, it's a cut that, you know, like brisket. Nobody wanted to cook brisket. Now everybody wants to cook brisket. The same thing happened with fajita.
Yeah.
It's sad what made it happen to the price, because it used to be a lot more affordable than
It
it
was.
is.
It was very affordable.
Yeah, and then there's a real nice story about it. Arrachera means like to hold in place, like a band, right? Or something.
Yes.
Yeah, and the term fajita arrachera comes from where it is on the cow, that it's a skirt,
like a belt.
Yeah, like a belt that holds everything together.
Yeah.
On the cow.
So
yeah.
they have different names in different parts of the country. Like Chicago was rancheritas. They call them rancheritas.
Yeah, so rancherita steaks, arracheras, fajita norteña. I mean, the proper names are inside skirt, outside skirt, flat meat.
Which is the best one, inside or outside? If you had to,
It depends on flavor. Outside skirt's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot softer.
Okay.
It's going to be thicker, so it'll be juicier depending on how you cook it. But it's got the majority of the time that skin left on it, so it's going to be a lot more pungent, irony flavor. Yeah, it's going to be bloodier, right?
What does Marco Aguilar prefer?
If I can get a good inside skirt and I can get it to like a medium weld to where, you know, my wife's not going to be complaining that it's too bloody.
Yeah, that's my wife, man.
I don't have other people like hinting at me stuff. Then I do an inside skirt because of the flavor.
Yeah.
I really like the flavor of the freshness to where it's not too bloody, too irony or anything else like that. A lot of people like sirloin fajitas, but the sirloin fajita comes from the rump area.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of blood pumping through there, so it's always got a little bit more irony flavor to it.
Go back to the brisket. It is very popular.
Yeah.
I mean, and people stake their whole entire cooking reputation these days on making the perfect brisket. When did that happen? And what do you think is the future of the brisket? Is it still going to be popular?
So I was listening to y'all's podcast with Arnie the other day, and I mean,
Thank you very much.
I mean, he talks about Franklin barbecue, and you talk about all the barbecue places and stuff like that. Me growing up, my favorite barbecue place was Red Barn here in McAllen.
Oh, yeah.
I loved it, right? And as I got older, I realized, hey, there's other types of, like, that was just thin sliced brisket, nice chewy bite. And then now you start going to Franklin's, you start going to Snow's, you start going to these famous barbecue places. I want to say it became famous maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago, where everybody started
That recent.
to where everybody started to push on it. I know barbecue restaurants always use it as a cheap cut. But 15, 20 years ago, you were probably able to get it for $1.99 a pound, $1.75 a pound.
Try that now.
Yeah, no, right now you're closer to $5 a pound,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, a whole brisket around here, what, about $65?
Easily $65. And everybody, says, oh, well, brisket's the cheap cut. Compared to fajita, okay, it's a cheap cut. But right now, you go to, I think Burnt Bean Company got the #1 in the state, right?
Seguin.
Yeah.
Ernie Cervantes and his crew there.
Yeah, real nice guy, real good brisket, the flavor and everything, right? But you go and he's using like a prime brisket, an 1855 prime, like it's a top of the notch brisket. So
Yeah.
that brisket's easy $6.50 a pound.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard to mess it up unless you're just an amateur.
It's hard to mess it up, but I mean that's a $100 brisket compared to the $65.
But it lasts a
selected choice
long
brisket.
time, and
Yeah.
it goes a long way.
Yeah.
And if you mess it up, you've lost quite a bit of money.
Yeah, that's
Tell
the
me
scary
about
part.
it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the scary part. Yeah, but I'd say 15, 20 years ago, the brisket started to get famous, and then people learned how to make it better. Restaurants, they started using rotisserie smokers, pilot assist smokers, stuff that doesn't make it so hard on them to cook. Like we have a Southern Pride smoker at the store, and I can load up 30 briskets, and I'll put it at night, and then the next morning, I'm not going to say they're perfect, but I mean they're pretty darn good.
You do cook at the store?
So we do like caterings.
Okay.
Like for orders, large orders more than anything. Hey,
I got you.
On 50 people, okay, I can make.
Are you a butcher by trade, or you have butchers?
So yeah, I grew up in the business with my dad.
What's his name? Let's give him some credit here.
My dad is Irineo Aguilar Jr.
Okay.
And my grandfather was Irineo Aguilar Sr. He's the one that started everything, right? And since I was, I don't know, maybe 8, 9 years old, I was helping them pack deer sausage, right?
Wow.
During deer
Oh,
season.
yes.
Helping them pack deer sausage. Hey, you can't touch a saw, you can't touch a knife, you can't do anything like that, but you can pack sausage. Okay?
There you
So
go.
I'm packing sausage.
Had a role to play.
Yeah, and then I get into the later high school. You can help out customers. You can come in early to help unload the carcasses off the trailers. You can help us with boxes and stuff like that. And then when we turned 18, I was fortunate but unfortunate at the same time. When I turned 18, that was 2011. We started transitioning away from hanging beef from the carcasses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I got to cut a little bit of hanging beef, But so if you bring me a carcass, I'll know how to break it down.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be the fastest at it because
Yeah.
I don't have as much experience as my dad and some of the older butchers. But
Well, at
I
least
think
you're
it's
not squeamish.
yeah.
I would be squeamish.
Yeah. So we transitioned away from that like in 2011, 2012. So, I mean, we still process a lot of deers. We still process a lot of nilgai and stuff like that. But the carcasses, to actual butcher, a whole carcass. I'm not going to call myself a master butcher, but I'll be able to break it down.
So if somebody brings you a nilgai, y'all can take care of it for them.
So we have deer processing next to us that I rent the place for my dad, so I'll process the deer and my dad will have the meat market, right? And we'll do the nilgai, the hogs, and everything like that.
Okay.
From September through March, we're open in that deer processing area. From December through January, I don't want to look at anybody. I'm just looking at deers the entire time.
Yeah, there you go.
Which one was the first store you all put up?
So my grandfather opened a store at the corner of 23rd and University in 1984.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, not 23rd. I think it's 22nd, 21st or 22nd. But I mean, the store's still there. But we were renting a little corner spot from the Partida family. They used to own City Auto, if I'm right. And they had they had the big building where our meat market is now, and we had a little corner store that we would rent from them. And
That's
that was
amazing.
Our first store,
That's a good start there. Hey, we're talking with Marco Aguilar with Aguilar's Meat Market. Want to thank our sponsors once again while we're at it. We have White Sands Marina, Inn and Suites, Port Isabel, Texas. Ward Thomas, Majestic Studios, and, of course, Fred Rodriguez, the Texas Sportsman. Gotta have it. Marco, tell us a little bit about the grading of beef. I know there's choice, select, and prime. As you were saying, the gentleman up in Seguin uses prime brisket. What can our listeners take from you today on the differences in those cuts?
So there's select, prime, and choice, right? The majority of the time you want to look for a graded beef. You want to look for something that has that USDA select, USDA choice, or USDA prime. Depending on what you're looking for, a select cut will do good on certain ones. Like if you're doing something for the house, like a milanesa, you're doing maybe a carnizada or something like that, I would really recommend a select cut. It's going to be something that you're going to be able to quick fry and stuff like that, and it's a good item. But that select cut is leaner. It's going to have a little bit more of a bite. The majority of select beef probably comes from Texas, so it's probably going to have a nice, fresh taste to it. And that select beef, what happens in Texas, especially in South Texas, we don't feed out cattle old as the rest of the nation. So the rest of the nation, they'll start feeding out cattle when they're maybe 18 months old, 20 months old.
About 500 pounds?
Yeah.
Or less?
We're going to be about 500 pounds. The rest of the nation is probably going to be closer to about 750.
Oh, okay.
750 or so, right? So because we feed it out younger, it's still got a nice soft bite to it, and it's got a pretty color to it, and it's still a good product. The select's a good product.
So there's no shame in getting a select cut?
On certain cuts.
Oh, on certain
cuts, yeah. If you're getting a fajita or something like that, you want to get a choice or a prime. But a select cut.
Ribeye?
Ribeye, you probably want a choice.
Okay.
Select will do good if you're going to marinate it, but most of the people want to just do salt and pepper because you want to taste the flavor of the steak, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so a select cut is something that's a little bit leaner, and they call that slight marbling. So on the scale, that's called the slight marbling, and it's select. You get to the next one, and you got choice, right? And choice is right now it's probably about 70% of all beef is graded choice. Yeah. Historically, it used to be 40%. The genetics have gotten a lot better. Beef's gotten better. So right now we're probably closer to 70% of all beef is choice. You have three types of choice. You have modest marbling. Modest marbling, moderate marbling, and slightly abundant marbling. Mm-hmm. So those are the three types of choice, right? Choice is really good product. It's got more flavor to it. It's a softer bite. Does
it demand more attention when you're cooking it?
Or it's probably a little bit easier to cook because you're not going to overcook it as easy as a select. Yeah, and
because of the marbling.
Because of the marbling and it's a little bit softer bite. It's a bigger piece of meat. Also, a ribeye and a select will probably be like a 7-inch circumference. Choice will probably be closer to 9 or so. So it's a nice piece of meat. If you can find a choice from a graded line, which certified Angus beef, 1855, if you can find something like that, that's a choice. I think that's going to be the best bang for your buck.
Yeah.
If you use certified Angus beef as a benchmark, and that's your best bang for your buck. So if you see something with the logo, certified Angus beef, 1855, High River Angus, Blue Ribbon. I mean, there's a bunch of different ones, right? If you see something with the logo like that, if you have the time, look up the logo and it'll tell you what the specs on it are. If it says, hey, fine marbling striations, upper 2/3 choice, that's a really good piece of beef, and that's going to give you a good product almost all the time.
Okay, as a choice cut.
As a choice cut, yeah. You get to prime, and prime is abundant marbling, right? So that means that, hey, this one has marbling for sure. It's always a good product.
Can that be manipulated by the grower, adding or taking away marbling, or is that just genetics?
It has a lot to do with genetics. So they'll, a Black Angus is going to do really good on a grading prime. If you mix in some kind of Wagyu into it, they'll breed a Black Angus with a Wagyu, and they won't specify it as Wagyu, so they'll grade it as prime. That does real well also. The thing that a lot of people throw people off, you go to some of the big box stores, and they have a lot of prime products, and that's good product, but it looks a little different than if you come to our store. Our store is going to have a nice ribeye, and the form's going to be real nice. It's going to look real nice and completo, right? If you go to a big box store, some of them use what is called Holstein prime. So there's certain brands from the big packers, like I was saying, from JBS. There's 5-star, there's 4-star, there's regional plants. There's these plants that they use Holstein cattle, and Holstein cattle is
those are the black and white ones, right?
Yeah, the black and white ones that they use for dairy. That's the type of genetics they use.
Yeah,
those Holstein cattle, they get them up older, and the Holstein cattle produces really good marbling. I mean, it's just it has good genetics to produce.
And
nice
why
marbling.
is that?
It's just the type of cow, the cow that it is.
What they feed them and stuff like that?
No, naturally it's going to produce nice marbling. Like here in the valley, we have a lot of Santa Trudes. We have some beef masters and stuff like that. It's all good cattle, but our cattle is for heat, right? We want to make sure that it's heat resistance and everything else like that. Those cattle, they're for the environment that, hey, it's a little bit colder. They produce a little bit better fat.
Okay.
They build better muscles and stuff like that. But it's going to be older. The Holstein's going to be a little bit older. So if you have a prime product, but you don't like, if you have a prime ribeye in front of you, but you don't like the way it looks, that, hey, it looks funny, or the eye on the ribeye is too small, or the color's a little bit off.
Yeah.
It's probably a Holstein product.
I got you.
That's why I say, in my opinion, if you're not sure of what that prime product is because of the way it looks and stuff like that, that upper 2/3 choice product, the branded product, whether it be a certified Angus beef or something like that, is going to be a better product than the prime product, in my opinion.
Okay.
So when in doubt, the more marbling, the better the cut of meat.
The better the cut of the meat, unless it looks weird. If it looks funny, if you're doubting yourself, there might be something behind it.
Don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah, what's the hype with the Wagyu beef?
So Wagyu beef, the majority of the one that is here in the United States, I think all of it is Akaushi Wagyu, right? So that's, I think it's red or brown Wagyu. If you look at it, it's a real pretty colored cow. It's got it's got like a brown felt on it. I mean, it's a beautiful cow. Short legs, real like beefy body. I mean, it's just pretty. It produces really nice marbled beef. I mean, and everything that we have is Wagyu influenced. I'm not gonna say it's 100% Wagyu. If you have something that's 100% Wagyu, you've got something really top dollar, and you're
going to pay top dollar.
Yeah, you're gonna pay top dollar for it. If you're getting it imported, hey, you're probably got 100% Wagyu.
Yeah.
But if you're getting like the Texas Wagyu, they have a real nice story behind it. The biggest one, and they're one of the originals that brought it in, that they like smuggled it out of Japan, and it's got a crazy story to it, is the Beeman Ranch in Flatonia, Texas. It's called Heart Brand beef, and it's real good product. But same thing, if you're in the heat, that cow's real delicate, so you're not going to get the marbling that you're supposed to. If you get something from further up north, like a Snake River farm from Idaho or something like that, that's real good. That's real good Wagyu beef. Wagyu beef naturally produces more marbling than a Brahma or a Longhorn or anything that we're used to eating. But it is very delicate. It's very hard to raise.
Did you bring any with you?
Check his pockets. Check his pockets.
I've got a couple Wagyu briskets in stock right now.
I had a question. Have you ever heard? Has anybody ever told you that if there's a comparison between Mexican beef and U.S. beef, it tastes better? Or, have you heard that before?
So my wife's from from Guerrero, Tamaulipas, right? So she and her dad is, they have cattle ranches. They're cattle growers. She swears by the freshness of it.
Yeah.
So she says, "Hey, it got killed on Monday, and I'm eating it on Wednesday."
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm not going to argue with you on that.
That's a
hey,
selling point.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm not going to argue with that on that. There's not so much blood. There's not so much irony flavor to it or anything else like that.
Correct.
That's great. But the problem with the majority of the Mexican beef we get here in the United States, you get brands like Su Carne, Gusi, Paredes Huasteca. The problem with that is it might be young cattle. It might be not fed out as long. But when it comes over here, the majority of those get pumped with a lot of sodium nitrate. So you got a
Now,
lot
we're
of-
not going to get you sideways with your wife right now, are we?
no, like I said, from her hometown, it's real fresh.
Oh, good.
They
There you
know, they know nothing gets pumped into it or anything else like that. But when it comes to us, it's got a lot of sodium nitrate. It's got water pumped into it. When you cut it, if the majority of it comes frozen, right? Because it has to cross the border and everything. It's going to take a while. But when you cut it, if it's fresh and you cut it, and it looks like a square, and once you cut it, it ends up looking like an oval because of how much water it's got into it and everything. It just comes apart on it. So
wow.
And that's to make it softer because the majority of Mexican beef gets fed out maybe 120 days, and the majority of U.S. beef gets fed out about 200 days. So that feeding out process builds a lot more fat here in the United States.
So can we go across and get some beef and bring it back?
The beef, yes.
Yes,
Beef,
okay.
you can cross it. I'm pretty sure there's a tariff on how much, right? That
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to cross so much.
But it does taste different, though. I've tried it before, and it does taste different.
So like there's like Carnes Finas San Juan, Ramos, all those meat markets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Those they're known for like having top quality beef. But a lot of the time, those guys that have like the special meat markets in Monterrey and stuff like that, they get the cattle from the U.S., import it to Mexico.
Oh, it goes the other way there.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Now, who do y'all buy from?
So if we're buying bone-in beef, because bone-in beef is a little bit more perishable, it doesn't have as long a shelf life. We try to get it as fresh as possible. So there's a slaughter plant in Corpus called it's called STX beef now. It used to be called Sam Cane. So the majority of our bone-in beef comes from there. Our 7 steaks, our bone-in ribeyes.
Y'all go pick it up, or they deliver?
They deliver to us. A packing plant like STX, Tyson, all those. Their main thing is we want to kill, we want to pack, and we want it out. So what we want to do is we'll get it from a distributor that'll do an STX specific brand. The boneless products, as long as it's not like a real bloody product, like I talk about, like a chuck or a shoulder claw or something like that, we'll probably get from further up north from either Tyson or National or one of those as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I bought some sausage from you guys the last time I grilled, and it was pretty good.
Are you trying to return it or what?
No. So you have different sausage types,
Yeah.
right? You have the stuff that you make on
In-store,
premises, and then you have stuff that comes in and you just put it out there because some people like that. And the casing's different.
Yeah, so we do a natural hog casing. A lot of it is if you get like an Eckrich or Hillshire, it's a synthetic one. It's a
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a premium sausage that we try to make.
No wonder they're
and-
finding so much plastic in us.
And what the main point behind the sausage to start was, hey, you're making steaks and stuff like that. You have trimming left over. You can make hamburger, and people buy hamburger, right? But you're trimming pork chops, you're trimming pork steaks. They're not going to buy ground pork, or you're not going to sell enough ground pork for it. So you make sausage out of it, and you mix it with a little bit of beef. So we have a line of fresh sausages, Polish cheese, jalapeno cheese.
Yeah,
And
we got the jalapeno cheese, man. It was nice. It was hot too, man.
Yeah, and
Why do they say you don't want to see how the sausage is made? What's up? What are y'all doing back there?
Historically, I forgot what the name of the book is, but there's a Chicago book, right? That it's about all how they made weenies and how they made franks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was just, literally all the scraps. It
Well,
was
people still eat it.
it was tongues and everything like that. Growing up, my dad's a third generation butcher, right? So he's seen everything. And he worked with his uncles, and he worked with his grandpa, and he worked with everybody. And he would tell me the horror stories of how they used to make stuff also, man. It's like, not necessarily for our family markets, but when they worked at supermarkets and stuff like that. Hey, the hamburger looks a little brown. Go get me a can of tomato sauce. We'll mix it in.
There you go. There you go.
But the pico de gallo too, then their pico de gallo is really good. I actually told some people. I went and bought some and I mixed it in a bowl and took it to my mom's. I was like, I did it. Oh, damn, it tastes really good.
They're like, damn, that tomato's cut
Way to
perfect.
go, mijo.
And what's the popularity with the red chicken, the yellow chicken? Because my son's into that.
Yeah. So the red chicken, Nothing has food coloring. I'll give you. I'm going to tell you that for sure. It's just the seasonings that one's chili based, and it's chilies, spices, and stuff like that. And then the other one's lemon pepper based. But I think it's the way we marinate it.
Yes.
We do what's called vacuum tumble. So we pull vacuum on the chamber that we're marinating in it. So it's pulled vacuum, and then we tumble it to make sure that it penetrates the spices into it.
Nice.
So it makes sure that it's juicy. Make sure that it gets.
And then you have the chicken quarters that are cut in half.
The split leg quarters, yeah. The split leg quarters. I mean,
When that become popular? Because everybody.
It's always been popular down here.
Yeah. But
I'd probably say, according to my dad, it's probably like in the late 80s.
Late 80s.
Yeah,
I was going to say the 80s.
According to my father, my father says that there's stuff that's from the valley. The split leg quarters. He says that was originated in the valley. He says bagged menudo, to where people would get in 8-pound bags ready to go. That's from the valley. He says sirloin fajitas. That's from the valley. Like,
that is awesome.
Yeah, he says that there's products that originated in the valley, and then they blew it from there. And I mean, I guess the culture makes sense. I know a lot of stuff from Mexico is really cool too, like the agujas.
Yeah, the agujas.
well, trompos too, and
the trompos. Yeah.
What is the agujas in English?
Agujas.
No. What is it?
So the aguja is it's a bone-in chuck-eye roll.
Okay.
In Mexico, it doesn't have the neck on it. In the United States, there's only one packer in the entire United States that'll produce a bone-in chuck-eye, and it's the Corpus packer.
STX.
Yeah, STX.
Wow. We're almost out of time here, Marco.
I understand.
All we do is try to get as much information as we can from our guests. And we thank you so much for coming in. I guarantee you,
come back.
we want to have you back because there's a lot of people with more information they want to get from you. But before we sign off, what are some typical questions you get from your customers about beef, chicken, or some of the other products that you carry at Aguilar's Meat Market?
I guess on beef, the marinated products we use. A lot of people say, "Hey, marinated products is whatever's old, it turns into marinated," right? The truth of the matter is, the marinated products move more than the regular products, so the marinated products are probably a little bit fresher.
Yeah.
And so I do recommend getting marinated products. It'll push out, and we usually discount them a little bit because to account for the spice and stuff like that.
There you go.
The chicken, they'll ask, how old is it? How old is it? The plants in Nixon, for our whole fryers, for our split leg quarters, for our skin on, that plant delivers every night, Monday through Thursday. So you're getting chicken that's like a day.
Tell us how to get in touch with Marco Aguilar.
I work mostly out of the old store, but I'll run around. So our old store is 956-383-2231. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Aguilar's Meat Market. We have a website, aguilarsmeatmarket.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Marco.
Thank you for opening in McAllen, too.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, we appreciate it. Marco Aguilar with Aguilar's Meat Market, Edinburgh, Texas, and McAllen. Thank you so much.
all right, it's the Living Large Theater podcast. Email us at livinglargetheater@gmail.com. We're available on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon Prime, and now on the YouTube channel. # Living Large Theater podcast. If you want to become a sponsor of this fine show, reach out to us, our super producer, at 956-451-1633. Rate our podcast, share with a friend, leave us a comment. More importantly, hit that subscribe button. Until the next episode, you keep living large, because we're living large.